The health care bill that was passed, and you punish the job creators. When you don't pass legislation like the Bush tax cuts, for example, I cannot believe that we're dealing with the Bush tax cuts and we cannot come to a decision whether to reinstate those tax cuts. If you punish the job creators, they're not going to move forward. And that's what we have to do first. We need a good salesman for the 8th District. We have so much to offer here. We don't have a state income tax. We're a right-to-work state. We've got a great workforce. But we've got to have policymakers in Washington, one, that are going to work toward putting small business back in the driver's seat. The fuel for small business are tax cuts, easing depreciation schedules. You know, I had a reporter the other day, he said, Stephen, what else can Washington do to get our economy moving? I said, brother, Washington can't do it. I think we've seen that the stimulus bills and the bailouts haven't worked. More people, this is going to sound crazy, but it's true. More people believe that Elvis Presley is alive than the stimulus bill worked. 3 times as many people believe UFOs exist than the stimulus bill worked. It's because it didn't work. The private sector is where we need incentives. And that's how we're going to get moving again, get out of this recession. So, policymakers in Washington, change in policy to reward the job creators, not punish them, not over-regulation. And we've got so much to offer and a good salesman for the district.
Okay, Mr. Fincher, we have a series of questions submitted ahead of time by students and other folks here at Union. Here's the first one. Illegal immigration is an issue that is mobilizing voters on both sides of the aisle. Critics say illegal immigrants place a burden on the state and take jobs from legal citizens. What is your plan to deal with illegal immigration?
I think we have kind of been floored by what is happening in the country with the immigration issue. For too long, our politicians have made this a political game, so to speak. Immigration is very important. Illegal immigration is very important. When you look at states like Arizona, when you look at what they've done with enforcing and writing new laws to stand up for their state, and then the federal government does everything in their power to come down on the state of Arizona for doing what they know is best for their state, it blows my mind. We have the laws in this country to deal with immigration. We've got a great temporary work program. We need to enforce the laws and not make it political. But once again, we should stand with what states like Arizona's done and not, from the federal government standpoint, look down their nose or sue the state of Arizona. It's terrible.
Okay, related to that question, the North American Free Trade Agreement is often blamed for having cost America many jobs south of the border, including thousands of manufacturing jobs in West Tennessee. That's the allegation. If elected to Congress, would you support the repeal of NAFTA?
Well, again, we go back to the blame game. And we go back to blaming everything on our jobs leaving this country. When in fact, if you raise taxes and you overregulate the private sector, this is going to be a newsflash to a lot of people, but businesses are in business to make a profit. And if they can't make a profit, they can't stay in business. We're seeing this with the financial regulation bill. I meet with banks all the time that are screaming about being overregulated in this new financial regulation bill. That is really putting the squeeze on small banks, and the big banks, it's more regulation, too much government. NAFTA is something that, before I'm a congressman, I can't make that call, but it's something we've got to first look at policy that stops punishing the job creators in this country. And that's what we've got to do, is get small business working again. And I don't think it's dealing with